Hello, welcome back. My name is Christina. I am the Education Manager for AEIVA, the Abrams Ingle Institute for the Visual Arts at the Art Museum at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I am joined today by Emmie Hicks, who was one of our interns several years ago. And this is a series, AEIVA Behind the Scenes, where we talk with people on the staff, we're talking to former interns, we're looking at objects in our collection, and just giving us a little look into art as we are all social distancing and quarantining and such. So welcome, Emmie. Thank you. I'm so glad you agreed to do this.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. It's great.
So first, let's start off with you talking about how you got to AEIVA and your AEIVA internship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that it was my junior year. I was taking a class with Dr. McPherson, and you had actually stopped upstairs. I think that Dr. McPherson had requested that some Hogarth prints be brought up because we were studying Hogarth at the time, and we were all just so amazed because there were so many prints that AEIVA had. And anyways, as you were leaving, you mentioned the internship program, and I immediately was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And I remember talking to Dr. McPherson for a little while after that, because it was during the summer and stuff like that, about doing this internship program, and she highly recommended it. And I remember interviewing with you a little later, and everything worked out, and I started interning, and it was one of the best experiences I honestly to date that I've had. The art community is so it's kind of intimidating sometimes, but the community at AEIVA, at UAB, it's so inclusive, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. So that's how I got started.
Oh, and we miss you. We loved having you. Well, with that, why don't you let our viewers know a little bit more about what you did as an intern?
Wow. So much. And it was just, I'm going to keep saying this, but it was a phenomenal experience. Really, we've talked about this before, but when I did interview with you initially, you specifically asked what I was interested in and what my goals were. And as an art history student, you're focused on really curatorial positions. I think a lot of times people just have that that image, and that's what they focus on. And I remember talking to you about that, but then I also considered I didn't really know the other facets of museums and what kind of went into that. And lucky for me, AEIVA at that point was there weren't that many people on staff, so it was very easy to work one-on-one with everyone really, and kind of learn all of these amazing areas. And so I did a lot of data entry for the collection, going through works on paper, learning how to handle art, all the way to like preparatorial work, art handling, and also interacting with patrons. It was just basically a little bit of everything and a lot of everything all at once. It was wonderful. Tours too. But I was there for a little while, so I had a chance to kind of dabble. But yeah, primarily I would say the collection, and then working with preparatorial work for exhibitions coming in and out. So yeah, it was great.
And I know that one of your favorite things was when we would pull from the collection and work in the collection. Just a quick plug, we do collection pulls for departments all across UAB, and then any K through 12 groups that want to come in, or just groups of people. That's something that people can request from us, but I know that you loved it because we always got to find and see something new that we hadn't pulled out yet or explored. And this was a fun kind of surprise when you were just doing inventory, going through and seeing the one Picasso that we have, Pablo Picasso. So I'm going to pull that up because we do want to talk a little bit about it. So I'm going to share the screen. And here we go. So this is a piece by Pablo Picasso. It is, I can't speak French, so I apologize to everyone out there. Le Seigneur et la Dame. The Lord and the Lady. 1959 is when it was made, and it is a lithograph. So, Emmy, tell us, oh, there it is. I apologize, it was not sharing. And it's still not up. There, okay, problems solved. I am learning technology as well, so it is sharing now. So this is a Picasso. It is Le Seigneur et la Dame, 1959 lithograph. So Lord and Lady, and tell us kind of why this is one of your favorites.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what you mentioned. It was every time we would go through the collection, we were combing through, seeing what we had, just organizing stuff, getting it, digitized in an orderly way that, it made it easier to find things. We have so many pieces. I mean, AEIVA is so lucky, and UAB is so lucky to have AEIVA. Every time we would do that, we would find, or I would see something, and it was just mind-blowing to know that we had a Warhol, we had Hogarth, and then all of a sudden we found a Picasso. And oh my gosh, we have a Picasso. So that's initially what drew me in. And then, seeing the content of it, and it was unusual, to say the least. When you think of Picasso, and I think at the time that we actually, I stumbled across this, I think I was taking a modern art history course with Dr. McPherson, and Picasso's very much a prominent artist within that, and to see something of this subject matter, it was striking. And so it just made me very curious about the piece, but I love it.
I think too, at the time we had talked about your interest in art at the time were not contemporary, and we are primarily a contemporary museum, but we do have a significant historical collection. And this was, that's kind of on the line. It's a modern piece, but it's not necessarily contemporary. And this one reminded us a lot of the Renaissance paintings as well. And so in the collections files, as we were researching it, we came across something that one of the former directors of the Visual Arts Gallery had written and about it. And so it states, our lithograph also explores the whole theme of the great Renaissance and Baroque portrayal of the nude who is Venus with Mars, or some other clothed suitor, divine or human. And which I love to show that art builds upon itself, and that's something our directors always said. But then I also love kind of these secret, kind of behind the scenes looks at art, because art is wonderful in of itself, but it's also, let's have a little bit of humor and fun with it. And in fact, the exhibition was called, when it was on display in the 1970s at the UAB Visual Arts Gallery, it was called Comedy in Western Art. And so he finishes this entry in the catalog with, this picture is the poster for our exhibition. 6 persons have written or come to us in complaint that it is vulgar or in poor taste or indecent. I do not think it is any of those things, but now I know that even old Picasso still had and has the power to outrage as he does to amuse. And he even references as a gentle image. And so I love that art is something completely different. And I know you found a lot of interest in kind of changing interest through this.
Yeah, it was, I feel like this piece really embodies, honestly, how I feel about art in general. It's kind of out of place. It's something that is striking. It's out of place. You're right. It builds upon itself, and it's perfect for that. I know that during this time, I was really focused on 18th century French portraiture. I was actually doing my honors thesis on something in that area, and I remember, when you start, this is one of the things that I just absolutely love about art history, but when you start researching something specific, you're never just looking at that one specific object or that one specific fact. You're sort of led down this road, and you're right, it builds through that way. After leaving AEIVA and having that interest in 18th century French portraiture, very specific there, you start to think about a lot of other things, and my interests sort of changed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I really became interested in contemporary art history, and how that's obviously relevant now. But yeah, this piece it's so true. I mean, what the director was talking about in his entry about how he's still able to spark all of these feelings and emotions even now. And it's so funny that it's just from a piece of art. You have people coming out outraged over something like this. And that's what art's all about. It's about sparking conversation and, uniting a community in some form or fashion. So I don't know, but yeah, this piece was, there's a lot to this piece. Yeah.
We love it. Picasso is such a wonderful artist, and it's interesting to have this piece not reflecting the kind of thing he's known for, but more as he's nearing the end of his life, and so it's just tastes change throughout life, and so it's an interesting representation to have in our collection. So I'm going to stop the screen share here real quick, and as we finish up, give us a quick where you're at now. We know your interest in art changed. Where did you go after you left AEIVA and graduated from UAB?
Yeah, so a lot has changed. I am living in Boston. I've been here for about 3 years, going on 4. Cool. And yeah, I'm currently working at MIT. I'm working in the literature department. Before that, I was working at Art New England magazine, and editing and writing for them a little bit, interning there, and that was a wonderful way to kind of familiarize myself with the region and the art around here. But yeah, I just recently had a baby a month ago, so I'm not back at work yet. So yeah, there's been a lot. But yeah, it's an adventure, and it's really fun, and I have not forgotten my AEIVA people. They have inspired me, and I think about you guys all the time. And whenever I start exploring something new, I talk to you guys all the time, and the experiences through the internship always weigh into my decisions whenever I'm exploring something new in the art world. So that's it was an experience of a lifetime.
Oh, well, thank you. And we're so proud of everything that you're doing and where you're at now, and a new baby who I just got to meet. I'm so excited. So we're going to let you go, and thank you, Emmy, for joining us, and we loved having you. For all of you, if you enjoyed this video or some of our others, check back for more AEIVA behind the scenes videos, and we will have more coming up throughout this time and in the future. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.